Hello everyone, this is Ted Wayne, also known as Gatekeeper. Whooptopia 2023 was a couple weeks ago, and this year we did something a little different. During tech inspection, we put our RF Explorer information up on the wall, projected on the wall, so all the pilots could see what we see when they're racing, and we say, hey, you got bad video, what we mean. So Daniel Driscoll from the Air Museum race reached out to me and asked what my workflow was, so I thought I'd do a video and share it with everyone. So right here is the kind of the product page for the RF Explorer. We have the 6G combo because you need it to go up to this, over 5.8 gigahertz. So this is the old standard one. They do have a newer model, 6G combo plus. It's a thinner plastic box instead of a metal box. This one is about $389 right now, and I think this one's about $450. This one's perfectly fine for our purposes. I would recommend either Seed Studio or Amazon to purchase them. I think I bought mine from Seed Studio. So on with it. So we have, this is our standard setup that we use. The signal is centered at 5.8 gigahertz, goes down to just below R1, just above R2, R7, R8, excuse me. And then we have the settings, kind of the bottom is 90 dB, minus 90 dB, and the top is minus 40 dB. And then these are kind of our settings to get things to look the way we want. Now, these are radio standards, and I also use limit lines that we read in from a file for the maximum, and I have these pre-made files that I can provide. I'm going to send them directly to Daniel, but then if anyone else wants them, hit me up on Messenger and I'll send them to you. So these are sort of just hard lines that are fixed on top. I modeled them after what the video signals were looking like at Whooptopia about 3 or so years ago. And then Greg Gutierrez of Perspective Image put these radio standards. He figured that out and sent the file. So we use both of those things. So this is what it kind of looks like. The files, they're pretty simple. They're just text files. So this is a radio standard file for R1. And then this is what at least part of my limits file looks like that sets that magenta line on top of there. So pretty simple. They're just text files. We can provide them, no problem. So let me plug in a drone real quick. All right, so that's a little whoop across the room on R2. And you can kind of see it more or less fills it out. It's probably about 8 or 10 feet away from the RF Explorer right now, and distance makes a difference. But what you'll get kind of used to seeing is sort of something that looks something like this as you're either inspecting or during racing. We run this all the time, and you can kind of tell when someone's having issues. This is a little thick. It's got a lot of red in there. It's continuous. When people are having problems, you'll barely see any data on the display here, and you'll see just green, very little if any red, and the green may even be just segments. It won't even be continuous. So that usually tells me that they're having a problem with their antenna or their VTX is blown, and those are the people that be screaming that someone's stepping on them. Usually I find they have just no video. So that's kind of the way we set that guy up. Certainly if you have any questions, want some additional details, please let me know, but there you go. All right, one additional thing. So I was looking back through the video and left that drone plugged in. And what you see here on the display is that drone kind of lost its mind as the battery died. And so this waterfall display here on the bottom gives you about a minute or so of history that gives you an idea of kind of what's going on if you're not looking right now to see what's going on the top here. This gives you sort of an idea of something strange. We see the beta boards diving off to the side quite regularly. They'll be sitting kind of peeking out to the left or right of where they should be, and so we'll get poor video on them. They won't trigger the timing, and sometimes their goggles look okay, but that's kind of what's going on in the background. One other thing, I forgot to really go through how we set up the radio standards. There's a file in the RF Explorer directory of your documents that gets created, and I don't recall if the radio standards folder was in there, but Greg provided a zip file, and that creates a directory, and it just has these various text files in there. And then when you go into the actual device side and go to radio standards, configure your radio standards, you can select which ones you want enabled, and you can also choose their color and their shape. I think it defaults to rectangular. I kind of like the bell shape a little better. And then I change the color to make them really vivid so you can see them. But you can just turn on and off whichever ones you want. And then you know, there you got it. So I forgot to mention that. So there you have it.